Spring is here, and that means prom season for many of my mom friends, or maybe you're even a mom with a son or daughter getting married soon. Well, I have the best tip for you: Suit Shop. We learned about Suit Shop while planning Connor's wedding last year, and we're so impressed with the quality and the service. With Suit Shop, you can purchase a suit or a tux for less than what you'd pay to rent in most cases. That's right, you pay less and keep the suit or tux. I wish I'd known this when my boys were in high school. Choose from classic or more modern styles and fits. You can shop using the links in our show description and use the code GIFMM for Got It From My Mama to receive a free tie with purchase. From proms to fitting an entire wedding group, just visit suitshop.com and thank me later. It's official. I've got all my girlfriends hooked on bare-faced toning pads. I knew they'd be thanking me once they tried these Powerhouse treatment pads that are packed with skincare acids, antioxidants, and hydrating ingredients to tackle dullness, rough texture, and breakouts. They enhance the performance of all my other products, and I've noticed my makeup just goes on a little more smoothly. If you're ready to switch up your skincare routine, try pairing them with Overachiever, bare-faced 10-in-1 serum for a simple but effective routine. Don't forget to grab 15% off your first order with the code MAMA15, that's MOMMA 15, at barefaced.com. We did it! This episode marks the 100th of the Got It From My Mama podcast, and we're celebrating with an incredible guest who has been a pivotal force behind one of the most successful careers in music history. I was thrilled to get to sit down with Jonetta Patton, mother of global superstar Usher and a powerhouse in her own right. In her first podcast conversation, Jonetta shares about her motherhood journey, from fighting to gain respect as Usher's manager to navigating some of the biggest milestones in his career. She takes us behind the scenes of the Super Bowl performance and Usher's surprise wedding, and shares motivational advice for helping passionate kids fulfill their dreams. So happy 100th to Got It From My Mama. This is the perfect interview to share for such a momentous occasion. I know you're going to enjoy it. Jonetta, I feel like we should cue the song Yeah, just because I'm getting to sit here with you today. It feels celebratory.
Well, I want to say thank you for inviting me on your 100 episodes.
Thank you.
That's a great accomplishment.
It is. I am so proud of the podcast, and we've had some fantastic, just inspirational moms, and I learned something from each of the moms that I get to interview about the various stages of motherhood. And as you know, I think I reached out to you about a year and a half ago, one of my very first reach outs, because I knew that your story was one I wanted to share on this podcast. So thank you so much for making this happen and inviting us here.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I've been so busy because every time I was like, no, my God, I want to do it, but my schedule was always so full, and I wanted to do it right.
Well, I appreciate that. We are in your gorgeous office, which, man, I would just be so excited to come to work here every day if I had this space too. It's beautiful. And I want to note that we are surrounded by all kinds of awards and plaques and things that you so proudly said you earned. These are Jonetta Patton Awards.
Right. This environment is so warm. I'm here every day, absolutely every day, because it's a sentimental meaning behind everything in this office. I can be having a really bad day, a potential bad day, but when I walk into this setting, this building, it's uplifting.
Oh, I love that. And really, this started at the beginning of Usher's journey.
Absolutely.
You said you've been in this space for 30 years,
30
which is
years.
about how long Usher's been, killing it in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We started out in music, and now we're in culinary. I flipped it.
Yes, you did. And we're going to talk about that because I think it's so interesting. And I think at this stage where I am, with the first kind of taste of the empty nest and figuring out, okay, I want to get back into what my passions were, into, there's a lot of life to live, and I've got a lot of creative talent that's been built up in me that I'm ready to get out and share. And I know you associate with that as well.
Absolutely. Empty nest.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And let me tell you how true it is. When Usher left, he didn't really leave because I was with him all the time. And it was my younger son that was really left behind at home, with sitters. But when he just moved out of my house and moved in the same community, I was feeling some kind of way about it.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yes, I felt empty nest,
Yeah.
even though I would see him every day.
Right.
But he still wasn't there in the
Mm-hmm.
mornings, because we would have breakfast together. Sometimes we have lunch. We still do that, but it just felt different.
Yeah, it does. And I think that it's kind of the mark of an end of that stage of parenting. I mean, we're
Yeah.
still parenting, we're still in our role as mother, and it's special
Always.
in a unique way. But it marked that moving out of the house marked
Yes.
something that was over, and it was sad.
Exactly, but it never stops.
Right.
You're a mom to the end of life.
Amen. Yes,
Yeah.
and happy to be one. So
Absolutely,
that's a
yeah.
good thing. So let's go back to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I think that that's part of my desire as well. Like, I want to celebrate 100 with Jonetta Patton because I grew up in Chattanooga. You did as well, and I've been able to follow Usher's story since he was a young boy. You know, I remember him appearing on Channel 3, which I used to work there years ago, not when Usher was first getting to make his little small television appearances and stuff, but just that little connection. And I think everyone feels like they have a little bit of stake in watching this boy from, Chattanooga, Tennessee,
Yeah.
truly make it, you know?
And that was what was so interesting to me, and me really wanted to do this podcast because I don't do podcasts.
Aw.
This is actually the first podcast that I've actually done.
I had no idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that means
'Cause it
even more.
just really, I am really a backstage mom, and I was a backstage manager. Never out front because I wanted to be the mastermind behind the success.
Right.
But this was really special, and it came at a really great time because now I am doing things more for myself.
Yes, you are.
Because I did so much for my sons, both of them, James, J-Lac, and Usher. But now it's my time to shine.
Right.
So it was just the right time. Plus, I just received a legendary award from Chattanooga. So I was like, this all just makes sense.
Oh, it's
I need
really
to do
awesome.
it.
And
So I'm really glad that I turned it down or didn't have time because this is the best time for
This
it.
is the time to
Yeah.
do it, yeah. And congratulations on the legendary award from Chattanooga. And what I loved that you told me about this award is that, I'm sitting here looking at MTV awards and just all of these different beautiful, prestigious awards. But you said that particular one from your hometown meant more to you than anything.
It really did because your hometown is your most critical. And they were so warm, receiving, and I cannot thank them enough for that award. It meant more to me than any of these awards.
That's really special.
Because that is the beginning and the support, from the beginning. The radio station, Keith Landecker, he was always there for me from the very, very beginning. We laugh to this day about our experience together. But it just all makes sense.
Yeah.
You're from Chattanooga. Nashville means something to me too because I went to Middle Tennessee State.
I
and
just
would
learned
always-
that, yeah.
I would come to Nashville, and it just all made sense.
That's so special.
So I really thank you.
Oh, thank you. I just was going to acknowledge the phone ringing. I mean, we're in your office. We're just going to let it ring because
I
you
know,
are
exactly.
a busy lady. We'll just acknowledge that sound if
Yeah.
anyone happens to hear it. So let's go back to Chattanooga, Tennessee. You are a busy mom. What are you doing for work at this point with your little boys?
Well, first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about Chattanooga. I worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield
Okay.
as a senior claims examiner. Loved that, but it was Usher's passion. It was his passion that relocated us,
Right.
to Atlanta. Not 100% because I was married at that time, and it was just a better fit, for us as a family. Usher was in that New Beginning group.
Yes, that
in
was a
Chattanooga.
group of boys, right?
Yeah.
Young boys that were in the music group called
Yeah,
New Beginnings.
New Beginning, yeah, absolutely. From the very, very beginning, we are faith driven. I was raised in the church, and Usher was raised in the church as well. And I was the director at St. Elmo Missionary Baptist Church. And that's when I really realized that Usher could really sing. Because I was the actual director.
You were
of
the
that
choir director for
Mm-hmm.
the children. So you see this group of children up there and you're practicing and you're performing. What was it about Usher when it came to singing or performing at that young age that stood out to you?
He would stand at that mic. he would stand at that mic and just sing. And the church, they would, on because we had the fourth Sunday, and they would always request that Usher perform and sing.
The congregation did.
Yes, the congregation. And also, too, I actually sing as well.
I was going to say, if you were directing the choir, that tells me that you've got some musical ability, too.
Yeah. And this is so amazing because the song that really sticks out that I really performed is I Made It.
Oh,
That's the
special.
Song. I Made It. And I used to sing that song. And the church would request for me to sing also because I sang in the adult choir. And let me tell you something. It was a really emotional moment for me when I received the legendary award. And I knew that someone had to know me and my background with that church because the song that they played, and it was, no, they didn't play it. They actually performed it. It was I Made It. And it made me cry.
Oh, how special. Real full circle moment.
Yes. And when they played that song, when she performed the song, and I thought, oh, wow, who told you guys that was my song?
Yeah.
Because it fits with what we've done, in the music industry. We actually made it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you did. I mean, 10 times over.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that the motivational quotes that I actually have on my wall. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with self-promotion as long as you're not being obnoxious.
Right.
I celebrate that moment. And that quote means something to me because if you don't believe in yourself, and this is what I've learned through my journey, if you don't believe in yourself, who else will?
Right.
Yeah.
I learned recently that you are actually going to be working on a book. And I think that is so special. Congratulations. Yes. You're in the midst of that process.
I am.
And hopefully we will actually get to read that and see that next year.
Oh, you will.
But in this interview, we may refer to a little bit about some of the things that will go more in depth in your book. But what is it about telling your story that you hope motivates and inspires other people?
I really want it to be a motivational book, positive. But through my journey, there were challenging moments, but how to handle those challenging moments. And that's what I want people to receive, from this book, is that walk away really happy because you learned a lesson.
Right.
You learned some lessons.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you guys
I learned
had valleys.
Some valuable lessons.
You had highs and lows during this journey, for sure.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I would do it all the same.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It made me the entrepreneur that I am today, at the mother that I am today, the person that I am today because of my journey.
Do you think Usher would say the same?
Absolutely, yes.
You do?
He'll tell you.
Yeah.
At Super Bowl, he told you, Mom, we made it.
Yeah. My goodness, you talk about, we made it. The Super Bowl, which was, such a he said it was the honor of a lifetime to be asked to do that.
It was.
How do you remember receiving that news or learning that he would be doing that?
I was so excited, not surprised.
No.
Because I know his journey just as well as he does. And to be perfectly honest with you, that is a question that is asked of me. How did you feel in that moment? And I have to be honest with you. I was just happy. I was happy for him. But I knew he was going to do that. He's been doing that for 30 years right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I knew once he hit that stage, I knew he was going to kill it.
Do you get nervous still at all?
Not at all? Absolutely not. That's what I'm saying now.
Just excitement.
I'm just happy. No, I'm happy for him because he's truly earned. He earned that. He really worked really, really hard.
Right.
And no, I was not surprised. I'm not surprised even today, with the different challenges, the ups and the downs. I was like, when he hits that stage, I'm sorry. It's going to be really, really a celebration because he loves it. And anything that you are passionate about, that is what you will get. If you're passionate, and even today in my walk, as an entrepreneur, that's one of the things that I asked, in an interview, is this your passion?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's your passion, you're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to have trials and tribulations. But if you're passionate about it, it's okay.
Yeah, you're going to work hard for it too. Yeah.
You're going to work hard for
Yeah, that's
it.
a good interview question.
Absolutely.
And I think I so identify with what you're saying of you were excited to see him on the Super Bowl, but nothing about that actually surprised you.
No.
Because you've been along on this journey. And I think it's interesting when my son Connor, who's in country music, made his debut on the Grand Ole Opry, and our family was interviewed, and his dad and I were, someone said, are you just so surprised? Are you? And I'm like, you know what? I'm excited, but I'm not really surprised because I knew this was a goal of his and something he wanted to achieve, and I just believed the whole time that it would happen.
So you understand?
I do.
It's like, and to really perform that on the biggest stage live, most people don't do that.
Yeah.
He performed live.
Oh my goodness, I know.
And you know what that comes from? That comes from him being challenged along the way. He can't do that, or he can't do that. What? Okay, I'm gonna really, really work hard at this because I'm gonna show.
Yeah, just motivated him more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw all of that
because
at the age of 14, he did go through a voice change. Can I tell you, he is one of the best vocalists in the world.
Okay, where are my pet lovers out there? You know I love to share about Coat Defense. The owners of this company saw a need for safe, effective products to keep your pet's coats clean and healthy. So they created an entire line that we love and use on Tucker. The Daily Preventative Powder acts as a dry shampoo that actually repels dirt and eliminates odor. It has been a game changer. When we switched to their sulfate-free, aloe-based sensitive skin shampoo, we noticed a lot less itching, and Tucker now has the softest coat ever. If your dog gets those hot spots, nothing works faster than their Trouble Spot drying paste. You can try any of the Coat Defense products for 15% off when you use the code MOMMA15, MOMMA 15 at coatdefense.com. Moms, I can't encourage you enough to make time for yourself by finding a moment of peace, encouragement, and reassurance, and would love to recommend 2 beautifully written devotionals written just for moms. Max Lucado's Grace for the Moment for Moms offers 50 devotionals filled with thoughtful messages of faith and God's grace for mothers. This devotional celebrates everything moms do and reminds you of how deeply loved and appreciated you are in God's eyes and in your families. And in Jesus Calling for Moms, Sarah Young shares devotions crafted to celebrate motherhood. Along with journaling prompts and uplifting reflections, this devotional invites moms to lean into God's guidance during every season of life. Give yourself or a mom you love the gift of comfort, faith, and a reminder of your incredible impact. Grace for the Moment for Moms and Jesus Calling for Moms are available now wherever books are sold. I was reading about and I don't know the lingo for the falsetto and the keys and the what, but that range he has, I mean, apparently that is extremely rare.
He worked with the vocal coach because he actually lost his voice and he almost lost his career behind it. This was something that was destined from the beginning. This was God's plan, for him. And the more he was challenged, the more he worked. And when I see him on a stage, I know what that is. It's dedication to what you're passionate about.
Right.
And he was very passionate about it. It wasn't a game. It wasn't just something to be seen. No, he loved performing. When I go to an Usher concert, I'm normally with my girlfriends. We're having fun.
You are. I was going to ask you, where do you like to be during an Usher concert? Are you in the audience? Are you in the pit? Are you on the side of the stage?
No, I'm in the suite.
Oh, okay.
I'm in the suite.
Okay.
And we're having our
cheers
champagne.
I want to go to an Usher show with Jonetta. Please. Okay, I'm going to speak it into existence here. Are we going?
Sure. Yep. I'm going to make sure that we go to an Usher concert.
So fun.
Because that is what I'm doing. I invite my girlfriends to come out, we get dressed up, and we have a party.
I bet you do.
Yeah, because I know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But I'm not wondering, okay, is he going to do this way? Is he going to do that? No.
You're not worried about it.
I'm coming to an Usher concert, just like all his other fans. I'm coming to an Usher concert to have fun.
Okay, that takes us back to the momager days. Surely in the beginning of the Usher career, it was a little different.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I would, because like I said, the record company did not believe in him.
I can't believe
from
that.
the very beginning. No, you can't believe it because of what you see. And that's why that's why he is one of the greatest, is because he had to prove himself. He had to work really hard, to get to where he is right now. Because when he lost his voice, no one believed in him. And we had to continue to work with vocal coaches. But what we did is, okay, he's having some struggles here, but I'm thinking, okay, I can't put all my eggs in one basket. We need to go do some other things, because if this music thing doesn't work, we need to do something different. So we started doing television.
That's something I don't think Usher gets enough credit for. The list of movies, television shows, he was on a soap opera, he's done.
So incredible.
He's got talent in areas people don't even realize.
It was so easy. Because people saw the success. They saw the success. They didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. But we did, the first movie that we did was The Faculty.
Okay.
And they fell in love with him. When I tell you, it was like, whatever you want to do. I mean, in the beginning, because he was so talented. Then he got a reoccurring deal with Moesha.
Yes.
And then we did The Bold and Beautiful. We did a soap opera.
I know. I can't believe you did a soap opera. What was his character on the soap opera? Was he a teenage boy at the time?
No, he was a teenager, but he fell in love. Fell in love, yeah. And that was the very first. And then, I'll never forget, we got a phone call from the record label. And women would call, because, he was a heartthrob. And so it's like, what are you doing? People are calling in and, they're upset. I'm like, I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, but you guys, it was like, he's over. No, he's not.
He's just getting started.
Yeah. So we started doing television and film. At that point, we promoted that first record, Usher, and it did not perform as well, not up to their expectation. So we started doing television and film. They came out on the road and said, hey, he needs to get back in the studio. I was like, what?
Oh, really? Mama knew that all along.
Yeah,
would you say that you were driving that bus to help book these gigs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I was management. And that was a lot of trial and error too. But there was not a book that you could buy, a management manual that you could buy and reference. So it was more or less selecting and choosing the people that I felt like could offer something to me. And so I met a lot of great people that believed in my vision for him. And so I started, really talking to those that I felt like really cared. And then I found this book, Everything There Is to Know About the Music Industry by Donald Passman. And I read that book. When I read that book, oh my God, I became powerful.
So it actually armed you with the tools to help you as this momager. Do you hate that word or no?
I never allow people to call me that.
Okay.
Like, no, I'm not a momager.
Yeah.
I am a manager.
You were a mother who was a manager.
Exactly. I would not allow people to call me a momager. But once I read that book, oh my God, which Donald Passman got in trouble. People really, the industry was upset with him.
He told too much.
Well, he told just a little too much. And I can remember times just going up into that record label. It's like, I want this. Like, how does she know that?
You worked and educated yourself.
Yeah, I did.
So we should probably back up a little bit. You moved from Chattanooga to Atlanta because you saw this talent in your kid that you thought he needed the relationships and the exposure that the city of Atlanta and the music scene there could bring to him.
Actually, I did not move to Atlanta because of his career. It was my husband and I that wanted to move from Chattanooga to Atlanta. It wasn't specifically for his career because he was still in that little group, the New Beginning.
Oh, so even when you moved here, he was? Okay.
Yeah, he still was in that group, and he would go back and forth from the weekend to participate.
You kind of always saw a solo career for him, though, didn't you?
Yeah, well, not really. In the beginning, I saw the talent there, but it was never. I promise you, it was not. We did not move to Atlanta because of his talent, but after him going back and forth, and he was so talented. Okay, I learned something, that Atlanta is the place that you should be. This whole business is really common sense. For a parent that has a kid, it is your duty to take care of your kids. And that's exactly what I did. I listened to him. I knew what his passion was, but I knew also what was good for him. And he was so passionate about, performing. And I saw that. So, and plus, I really started learning the business. And the group that he was in, I started asking, well, you guys are selling product, but where's the accounting? And I could not get that. And so I told the owner of the group, that he needed to provide me with that, and he could not. And so when he did not provide me with that, after asking over and over and over again, I took my kid out the group. Mm. And so when I took him out the group, it was a very sad day for my son, because he felt like, oh my God, I made it. No, you haven't. I've seen something really great here. And this is not the proper way to do it, because I learned better. Mm-hmm. And I took him out the group. He was so sad. And
did you have to convince him that there was something bigger for him?
He told me I had destroyed his whole life. Ooh. And I said, no, your life has just begun. And I'm going to show you. And so I started entering him into competitions. He became the talk of that town.
Like talent competitions?
Yes, he became the talk of the town in Atlanta with just that first competition. Mm-hmm. And he was performing with adults, not just kids.
Like competing against adults.
Yes. And he was performing with a live band. It was LaFace Records was in the audience. And there was a representative from Star Search in the audience.
I wanted to ask about Star Search.
Yes. And so he won that first competition. So he had to compete, because these were competitions every month. They would have a new group, of people competing. The second competition, he won again. So that started building up his confidence. It was like, my mom knows what she's talking about here.
I literally see your face light up, because I can see you thinking back to seeing him on stage, this young boy in a talent competition and winning. And you felt like you just won a big prize.
Exactly, because I lost his trust. In the beginning when I took him out the group.
Were you a little worried too? Like, okay, I feel like God has this bigger plan for us, but now we got to figure out how to execute.
Yeah, I was. I was worried. I really was worried. But I knew that I had to make it right, because he was too sad. He really was sad. But I knew he had talent, and I know what I saw going on in Atlanta. So anyway, he won that second competition with a live band. He's 13 years old now. He's jumping off stage singing to older women.
I love it.
And so Star Search was in the audience, so they wanted him to perform on Star Search. LaFace Records was also in the audience, and they wanted to have a meeting with him. So we took both. Mm-hmm. Because once again, I'm like, I don't know, but this both, Star Search would love for him to be on their show, which was really a big thing.
Yeah, it was a big deal at the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he performed for L.A. Reid in the office with a lot of adult women, because that just was his thing. That's the thing that he did, perform to women.
Yeah.
And they signed him on the spot. We went to Star Search. He won. He holds the record of the longest note held to date.
Of a contestant on Star Search?
Yes.
Wow.
So we had both opportunities. We could go back and compete or continue with this deal that we had. So we didn't go back to compete. We continued with the deal.
How many episodes of Star Search did he do?
One.
Just
Only
the one. Okay.
Yeah, and he won.
Yeah.
So then at 13, puberty.
Yep.
And he went through the voice change. And when that happened, I'm like, oh my God, another challenge. Because the record company just did not believe in him. But we fought. We fought through it, and we made it.
They were worried that he wasn't going to be the strong vocalist after the voice change.
No, he wasn't.
So you went from this high of, we got a record deal, this is going to be a big thing, he's only 13, 14 years old, and then they're like, we're not so sure. So what did you do?
I stood toe-to-toe with them. It was like, I don't know that much about it because, like I said, I was a senior claims examiner. I don't know that much about the business. But as I studied, and met different ones in the business that had a lot of knowledge that really helped me. But it was that book that I actually read that really helped me to understand, the different levels and what you should do, what you should not do, what you should ask for. So, it was like, no, he just needs a vocal coach. And they know that he's talented. And they know that he has a fighting mom, too, that's going to make it happen regardless. And so we started working with a vocal coach. And we put out a record, and the record was not as successful because it was a little too adult.
I wanted to ask you about that. As a mom, did you struggle a little bit with the songs they were giving him and the content and the whole selling the sex appeal image of a 15-year-old?
I did, but I had to put on that business hat. I had to take off the mother's hat and put on the business hat.
Was that alone a challenge to separate being his mom and just everyday life to launching this career and being the manager, making the big decisions?
Yeah, it was, but it was never personal. It was never about me. It was always about him. And these were the things that he wanted. So with that challenge, I'm 100%, I'm hands-on. I'm a hands-on manager. That's where the divide and conquer came in to play. It was like, man, she's starting too many problems. She's asking for this, she's asking for that. She's showing up here, she's showing we can't do anything behind her back. And no, I was like, he's very, very talented. I'm going to be involved, and if I can't be involved, then we're not doing it. We'll just go some other place. Because I knew he had talent, right? He was just struggling because of puberty.
Right. Every kid goes through that.
Absolutely. But it was the first artist that they had was young, so they didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
But I knew I had something that they wanted.
So were you saying, you guys just need to be patient, we'll work through this?
Yes,
I can remember when Connor hit it, because after starting so young, they were like, you have to sing through it, you have to have a vocal coach and just sing through it, and you're going to come out fine. And he did.
They didn't do that.
They just weren't educated on that.
No, they were not.
Yeah.
And so that was something that it was a demand. It was like, yeah, he needs a vocal coach.
Yeah.
And they paid for it. And he made it through.
Is this about the time that he went to New York? And part of that, was that the pause in the career of, we're not sure what to do with him, so let's send him here to work?
No, that wasn't the pause. The pause was they just didn't believe, but they were dealing also with the parent that's going to take him some other place. They were dealing with that part that, oh my gosh, she's not going to stop. But I knew better because I had educated myself. And so...
and 100% of every choice, decision, time you spoke up, everything was to protect your son.
It was. Everything was... It was never about me. It was never, ever about me. And everyone in that industry knew that. You mess with my son, and he had security with him at all times. When he went to New York, he had a tutor because he had to go to school. And everyone knew that. So... during that time, he went to school. There was a tutor with him 24/7, to go to school. There was security, and he graduated.
I can't believe he already needed security at 13, 14 years old.
He always had security. Always. That's the type of parent I was. He always had security. And so he graduated, from the curriculum of a New York City school. Um, and everyone knows that if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere.
So says Frank Sinatra, right?
I'm telling you. And that's why that's one of the credits that I give to his career and to himself. He broke in New York City. That's where he broke, in New York City.
And I don't think that, when I think about Usher, I don't think I really realized that New York City had that impact or influence on his career.
Oh, yes. Big impact.
How hard was that for you as a mom? One, we're dealing
hard.
with, I just mentioned the content of the music and some of the lyrics. And did you ever have to speak out on that and just say, I'm not so sure my 15-year-old needs to be singing?
Yeah. But, once again, I had to put on a different hat.
Yeah.
Okay, this is something that he's loving. He's enjoying himself.
His business.
And, he went there to learn the lifestyle as well. And at this point, I'm married, but I'm dealing with something at home because he's not understanding why I'm so engaged. I'm not giving him the time that he wants.
That's hard.
But I'm like, I love you, but I love my son more. And this is his passion. And it caused a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Until one day he gave me an ultimatum. It's either him or me. So, bye.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How did you manage the super successful son and walking that road? And then we want to make sure people know you have a second son. You've got grandchildren J-Lac is your, James is your second son. Did he travel a lot with you?
No.
How did you spread yourself without spreading too thin?
It really was easy because when every kid, they have different personalities. They have different needs and wants. Usher was the kid that was young, energetic, just want to have fun. He's enjoying life, and he was the one that was a knucklehead. Like, he would try anything.
Usher would?
Yes. Like, he needs guidance because he was just so outgoing. He would try anything. He didn't care. He was just a lucky-go kid.
But he was also really driven and passionate, right?
Yeah, he was driven and passionate, but I'm just saying, when it comes down to the difference between the two.
Personality?
Yes, the difference between the two. James, he was more like, okay, I'm going to do exactly what my mom said. Usher is like, I'm just going to do what I want to do. Okay?
So Usher had the more rebellious streak than the brother.
Yes.
J-Lac was easy to parent?
Yes. It was. Usher, let me tell you, I bought J-Lac a BB gun, but I would never give Usher a BB gun.
That sums it up right there. Every mom can relate to that.
Never, because he's going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Okay? Usher's going to shoot you. J-Lac is not going to shoot you. If I say, and I'll give you an example. I bought him one of those...
skateboard.
Yeah, I bought him a skateboard. And so where we lived, there was this really, really, really high... just really high...
Hill?
Hill, yes. And I said, now, I'm going to give you this, but you cannot come off that hill. You cannot. He did. He did it. Cracked his tooth. He has a scar on his lip to this day. And he had a record deal. Okay? Usher, when I got home, I was like, I told you not to come off that hill.
And J-Lac would have never done that?
Never.
If you told him not to?
Never, ever would have done that. So that's the difference between the two.
Okay.
I got to follow Usher. Because if I don't, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because he's going to go off. Because he's having fun. He's just this lucky-go kid that just will do anything, okay? And his youngest kid is just like him.
Oh, that's funny.
So, with the J-Lac, when I was on the road with Usher, I had a sitter for James, and but basically James was very mature, and I would call him, he would call me, we kept in contact. When I would come home, our special time was we would go to have breakfast. I would take him to school. These were This is how we bonded once I came back into town.
It was like
But
all
it was
about
never,
him. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was never, my mom is gone and she's out there. But he was sneaky.
Oh.
He was very mature, but he was sneaky. Okay? So he was doing little things, and I didn't find all this stuff out till later.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. No, I've had some of those
They would
moments.
they would be having parties at my house.
So he was just fine with you being on the road.
Yes. And I'm thinking, he's calling me on the phone, hey, Mom, so where are you? What are you guys doing?
Ah.
That's to make sure that I'm not coming home.
Right.
And I didn't learn all this stuff until later, and we laugh about it to this day.
Yeah, there becomes a point where your kids can tell you those stories, right?
Yeah. And so, but he never had any problems with, my mom is showing favoritism, but I had to, because the type of industry that was, they would have eaten Usher alive, because I'm just having fun doing what I want to do, and blah, blah, blah.
How did you deal with the criticism or the skepticism of a mom can't step in here and guide a career like this?
Well, once I read that book, I didn't care what they said. I really didn't care what they said. And everybody knew that. They would try to bring other management in to get in his head.
Were they basically, I would assume they were, telling Usher they doubted that the current management he had, which was Mom, wasn't going to get him where?
Yes, they definitely were telling him stuff like that.
Did it impact your relationship?
No, not in the beginning. No, it did not. Because he knew what I had already done. And plus we were such a close family until, they would tell him all that stuff, but he didn't believe it.
Good.
And so it didn't bother him at all. And I would go in those meetings, and sometimes he would say, "Ma, we're gonna lose the deal." And I'm like, "No, don't even worry about it."
Because you were too outspoken, he was worried?
Yes. He was like, "Ma, we're gonna lose the deal." I'm like, "No, we're not. I'm getting you what you deserve. And we're not taking anything less than that." And, later on, different ones would say, "Man, the difference in certain mom managers and managers overall is you're very stern. You're very stern, you're polished, you're a professional."
You had high expectations of how they act and treated your son's career, too.
Absolutely. And that goes back to a mother's duty, is to protect, your kids. And that's what it was. It was never about me. I always knew it was his passion, and it would hurt me. It would hurt my heart, to see some of the things that they would do, because they didn't believe in him. And I would see his moments, when he was really down, because they didn't. And that's what made me really fight harder.
What would you say is one of the smartest decisions or things that you did or demanded as his manager that helped to catapult him?
Is that he's truly talented. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss it. He's really talented. And I will tell you that in the beginning, when we were making money, we owed taxes. In the very beginning, we owed taxes. And it was $40,000, and we didn't have it. And I went to the record label, and I said, "We need $40,000, because we need to pay these taxes." And it was like, "Okay, we'll give you the $40,000, but we want all of his publishing." I read the book. I'm like, "No, I'm never giving you that." I knew better than to do that. And I didn't do it. And I went to a publishing company, and it was Big John. His name is Big John. He believed in me. He believed in Usher, and it was like in the beginning of his career. And because I promoted him, I'm like, he's going to be huge. I'm telling you. Guess what? I got $1 million deal. This was when Usher was not even proven.
Wow.
This was in the very beginning of his career. I was like, I'm telling you, he's going to be huge. We laugh about that to this day. $1 million.
You got him $1 million deal for his first publishing deal.
Yes, ma'am.
And you did that.
I did it. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you gain some respect from that?
No, I gained all kind of respect because I was like, I wouldn't fold. I mean, if I say something, you better understand that's what I mean. Then it was like, this lady knows what she's talking about. She's not going to move. This kid is very talented. And, and then it was easy. It was like, when I asked you for something, just give it to me. And they did.
Would you turn that into like advice for, the average mom doesn't have an Usher son, right? The average mom has a kid who probably has a passion and a dream and they want to, help them in any way they can. I hear from you, fight for your kid.
Yeah, you have to be realistic. You have
Yeah.
to be realistic, but never give up and never leave them. Do your best, but never leave them. Because sometimes their passion, it might not be realistic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they should stop, because all success is not the same. Okay? So you might not make it to the top, but you're successful in what you're doing, and it could be at a lower level, but you're still successful in it. Okay? Because it's your passion.
Right.
So I would say, continue, but be real, have that conversation. Well, have you thought about doing it like this? And do your research as a parent. Do your research. Do you think we might be able to do it this way instead of the way that we're doing it? And you may not make it to the top, but you're still successful.
For sure.
Yeah, because every success is different.
Yeah. Do you think, are you an advocate? I know I am, for help your kid figure out their passion early. Like when I saw my son picking up a guitar at 6, 7, like really young, really working to learn to play, then I was like, well, how do I expose them to more music? How do I take them to songwriter nights? How do I get them guitar lessons? Like, I think it was a game changer.
That's the thing that I'm talking about, because I have my grandson he's 15. No, he's 16. Yeah, he's 16. So he wants to sing, and he can sing. But I don't see the passion. He can sing, and he wants to sing, but it's like, okay, if I ask you to sing in front of, like today, if he walked through that door, I'd ask him, sing. And he start making excuses. You're not passionate.
That was the difference of what you saw in Usher.
Yeah, you're not passionate.
Yeah.
And how much work are you putting into this?
And are you willing to put into it, right?
Yes, and if I don't see all that, that's not what you're passionate for. You're just doing something because of what you see. But do you love it? You have to love it. And what that means is you will go the last mile, okay? Go to vocal lessons, okay? Go to the vocal lessons. Okay, today I don't really feel like it. I'm sick.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't I don't see your passion. See, Usher didn't stop.
He would have never.
No,
Did he even have other passions? Did he play sports, or were there other things,
God.
or was it always music?
No, it was music. I was glad when we saw music, because he tried football. That didn't work. No, it was like, that's not it.
So that was an easy no. We're not doing that.
No, we're not doing it. And so, but the music, that's where the passion was. Yeah. So it's to parents, start doing your little research. And start questioning, what else do you like?
Yeah.
But you have to be real. I mean, you really don't have the talent.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Yeah. You would have been able to be that voice if he wasn't that great.
Yeah, we got to try something else.
Yeah.
Like with James as a producer. Usher and I both did not know he was talented like that. When we were on the road, he was like playing drums, and we didn't know he was doing all that.
Really?
No, until we were looking for a new drummer for Usher's band. He said, your brother, he's the one. And was like, what? He played all of Usher's songs with that drum.
Really?
We didn't even know he was doing that behind the scenes.
Didn't he end up going on the road with him?
No.
No, he never did?
No. He would go out to different dates, but he was studying Usher. He was studying Usher. And that's why he has become the producer that he is today. He has a #1 record, Get It Shorty. by
That's
Lord.
his?
That's his song.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we both were surprised.
Yeah.
And so now right now he's in Los Angeles, producing. He's out there working with other artists.
He's got a studio right
Yeah, he
here in
got
the
a
building
studio,
we're sitting
yeah.
in.
Yeah, he's now a big producer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Has it been fun for him to be along on the ride? And like, is he proud of his brother? Does he enjoy seeing
really,
his
really
success?
proud of his brother, but he wants to stand on his own. And that's the same thing with me. Is yes, I did this, which is really great for me because it allows me to do the things that I do. Because people, they saw how I got it, that career.
Yeah.
So they know, okay, the potential is there. She can do it. So when I pick up a phone and call someone, they just automatically do it.
Yeah.
So it's been really easy.
Because you gained that respect.
Yes.
You worked hard for it.
Yes, absolutely. It's not just, oh, she's just trying to be seen. No, I'm a real businesswoman.
Yeah.
And you want to be in business with me.
Oh, you are, girl. I've seen it today. I'm just like kind of blown away. Before we move on to the entrepreneurial side, because I do want to talk about that, just to learn from you in general. But what have been, would you say, some of the highlights? I mean, I look at the accolades, and we don't have time for me to list the awards and the, the dozen Grammys and the BETs and the Soul Trains and the Academy of Music Awards. I mean, it really is amazing. The Walk of Fame. I think of that had to be a really special moment. And then, of course, Super Bowl, which I want to talk a little bit more about. But for you as mom, what have the highlights been?
The highlights is believing in self, believing in yourself, because that's what it took. And that's what I speak on to this day, is you have to believe in yourself. You cannot let others dim your light.
And your role as mom, I feel like, was just to help his light shine.
Absolutely. But the key is loving also yourself. You have to work on yourself because loving yourself is power. And that's where success comes from. It doesn't come from others. You have to first believe, because you're going to have dream stillers. They're out there. You want dream releasers. And you want to surround yourself, with, people that have the same mindset, winning and positive mindsets.
That's so
what
good.
you want